morning, Bob. It's been so long since I last spoke with you.
I know. We just had a big heart-to-heart, a big talking to yesterday on the show.
We did.
Covering all this stuff. No, it was great. It's always fun. It's always fun to have Jody on the show, and I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is wonderful. Yeah.
So, as you tweeted out, it has become true. They just released the war planning texts.
Yes, they did. I was just looking through the New Atlantic piece out today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you call someone's bluff, they're going to do it. They're going to release the receipts because the assumption is from the Trump administration, this is a gigantic mistake that they make every single time. The assumption always is, well, they're lying.
Right.
And the reason is because they're projecting, because they're the ones who are always making this stuff up. Donald Trump is the world's most notorious liar con man, and everyone knows it, including many of his own supporters. It's why they like him, because his lying owns the libs. But what the assumption then is, well, we're lying because they're all lying.
Right.
And that's not the case. And certainly spending all day under oath before the Senate Intelligence Committee, denying the existence of war plans in the signal chat, denying that these war plans were classified. So, Jeffrey Goldberg and the Atlantic says, okay, well, here, let's just release the documents that we have. And they have. And it's utterly fascinating. There are a couple of things that jumped out to me in particular. The first one was that Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, in this group chat confirms the existence of other PC groups, of other chats like this on Signal. It's astonishing. We're doing it, and the assumption that we all made yesterday that where there's smoke, there's fire. They've done this one thing. They've probably done it a bunch of other times.
Absolutely.
And what kind of information was revealed in those other Signal chats? Who was inadvertently added to those chats? And so there was that. There was the confirmation that there are other Signal chats that have been, by the way, disappeared. And I want to make a point about that, Jody, because I think there are two dimensions to this. The one is the incompetence of doing this stuff on a consumer app and then adding the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic to that chat. The other thing is, and this might be even more important, is the fact that they're using this app where you can set the messages to disappear after a certain period of time, which they actually did. I mean, that's part of the story, that Mike Waltz set a bunch of messages to vanish into nothingness, thus covering their tracks. Why do they need to cover their tracks? Why so secretive? What are they trying to cover up? So once again, we're in a situation where it's both the incompetence and it's kind of the preemptive cover-up. Astonishing. Oh, there was one other thing I noticed, and I think you mentioned it on the show a second ago, which is what Pete Hegseth saying something along the lines of OPSEC is clear.
Yes.
Yeah. We're good on OPSEC. No, you're not good on OPSEC.
No.
Operational security. No, it's full of holes.
Yeah.
There's an Atlantic reporter reading you saying, Pete Hegseth, that OPSEC is good. No, it's not.
No, a reporter is... No.
No, it's bad. This is all bad.
No, this is so bad. And I mean, they're even trying to push this narrative that there's a coordinated plot against Donald, which is why this happened.
Oh, yeah.
I know the head tilt makes sense to me. They claimed the fiasco around leaking the sensitive security information was a coordinated distraction as Donald defends the advisor of, Mike Waltz. He said it's a coordinated effort to distract from the successful action by Donald Trump to make America's enemies pay. No.
Yeah, that was Mike Waltz yesterday was on with Laura Ingraham.
Yeah.
And just walking into another propeller. I mean, it's just like the Three Stooges fixing the plumbing. It's just remarkable seeing these nincompoops operate around this very obvious breach of national security, very obvious breach of the Espionage Act. I mean, it's all very clear. I mean, Mike Waltz goes on Laura Ingraham yesterday and says, oh, maybe Jeffrey Goldberg infiltrated the group chat, huh? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe he did that, which is even more damning.
Right.
Because if
he can do that,
of the Atlantic can get into the group chat, then any foreign intelligence service can get into that group chat as well. And then we have Steve Witkoff, who's Donald Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, in Moscow, participating in this signal chat. Apparently, Tulsi Gabbard as well was overseas while she was participating in this. And as we all know, going back years and years and years, all the way back even before the Snowden documents dropped, is that everyone's spying on everyone.
Right.
Everyone's trying to get into everyone else's computers. And, that's a fact. And that's something that we've all known about for some time now. Apparently, none of these numbskulls know about that because they're just walking around with perhaps their private cell phones having classified discussions about war plans.
Well,
and then denying it when very clearly there's evidence showing that they did what they did.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, just watching her yesterday was driving me insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that one. It was someone posted on Blue Sky, one of those pictures of Kash Patel testifying with just those gigantic Simpsons eyes of his. Yeah. And said, it always looks like Kash Patel just saw the Babadook.
Yes.
That was the caption. Yeah. That cracked me up.
Yeah, it for them to say that this is a distraction, it's like, how is you screwed up?
Yeah,
you did.
Who created the distraction? This is happening within a relatively short span of time since the actual bombing raids in Yemen. So this is not like something that was manufactured or something that came out in the context of a book or what have you. I mean, it's nonsense. They're obviously, they can't coordinate their message. They don't know how to respond to this other than to do what I consider to be just this ridiculous, childish Donald Trump cosplay every time someone's in front of a microphone. Mike Waltz was doing it on Ingram last night. Pete Hegseth was doing it, on the tarmac in Hawaii the other day, or yesterday, talking about how, it's just Russia, the Russia hoax, and the thing. And they were doing the whole rundown of Donald Trump.
Greatest
zingers,
hits, the
all
greatest
of his
hits.
little bits, yeah. It's just, I find that, just generally speaking, one of the things that annoys me the most, where you have people, grown men, so impressionable, like little boys putting their bath towels around their necks and pretending to be Superman, acting like Donald Trump, mimicking Donald Trump out of just this supplicant kind of mealy mouth hero worship. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, and Susan Collins is concerned.
Oh, of course she is.
Yes, I'm sure she is.
She's there
Lots
are a few
of concerned people in Congress.
Yeah, there are a few Republicans. John Cornyn said, "Sounds like a huge screw up. Is there any other way to describe it? I don't think you should use Signal for classified information." No kidding, Senator.
Yeah, really?
No kidding. Senator Tim Sheehy from Montana. Somebody effed up. A little.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little Buttigieg in
Sure.
him. Tom Tillis offered up some basic messaging tips. You got to know who you're sending your texts to.
Any drug dealer using Signal knows that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They're more secure. This is the funniest thing ever. That's why I can't help but laugh, because I grew up in the Zandemic.
Yes.
And very often I would witness my peers and my classmates purchasing off of Signal and Telegram and different apps like this, and they were more on top of it. 15-year-olds.
Right.
Of course.
Let that sink in.
I mean, it's just, who else? Somebody said if this were an episode of Veep, it wasn't so. It would be an episode of Veep if it wasn't so dangerous and just plain dumb.
Oh yeah.
That was Andy Kim. And Nancy Pelosi said, "In my 30 years of experience working with the intelligence community, I've never before seen such horrifying incompetence in the securing of our nation's intelligence." Atta girl.
Yeah. It's incompetence and it's hubris.
Yes.
I think that's a key component of all of this. Thinking, okay, well, Donald is this, the subtext is Donald is this dictator who can backstop anything. And what if we get in trouble with federal prosecutors, he'll just pardon us so we can do whatever the hell we want. Right. And that's this attitude that surrounds authoritarianism, that, we can operate outside the law with impunity and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. As Susan Collins said, it's an extremely troubling and serious matter.
Oh, yeah. Roger Wicker literally said concerned. He said, talking about doing impressions of other people. He was doing his Susan Collins impression.
Yeah, and John Kennedy, who is poorly named, Republican from Louisiana. Do I wish it hadn't? Accent. Yes. Do I wish it hadn't happened? Of course. Do they wish it hadn't happened? Of course. but this is not keeping the American people up at night. It kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of
Just a little
is,
bit.
yeah. I mean, if you're revealing war plans in an unsecured way, that could endanger everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable that I guess because we're now, coming up on 24 years since 9/11,
Yeah.
the people who were hectoring us for years and years and years after 9/11 about national security and making sure we have the Patriot Act and things like that, have now just entirely forgotten about all the things that eventually led up to 9/11.
Right.
All the breaches in communication among the intelligence services and the inability to be able to see this stuff coming down the pike and leaving ourselves vulnerable to these kinds of attacks. They're just walking right back into that.
Yeah.
Is this remarkable? To say that this doesn't affect anybody, this is staggering. But,
Well, and they're also encouraging people to attack us with what Donald is doing. Wanting to go, the fact that now J.D. Vance is going to go to Greenland with his wife,
Yeah.
and nobody from Denmark or Greenland is going to meet with them.
Right.
They're livid, understandably.
Even before this story broke in the Atlantic yesterday, we were already in a position where we very clearly looked to our enemies as though we're entirely vulnerable. Like this, if you're going to attack the United States, maybe now, they're thinking now may be the time because the federal government is in disarray, the Pentagon is in disarray, the intelligence services are in disarray because Donald Trump is indiscriminately like a 9-foot baby just going around knocking crap over.
Right.
And so it puts us in this place where we just appear weak. I mean, I think one of the biggest deceptions that Donald Trump has managed to pull off is framing his behavior and framing his administrative agenda as somehow tough and strong. It's not. This is the opposite of all of those things. It's the opposite of what he thinks it is.